You know, when I proclaimed martial law, I didn't proclaim martial law alone. It is made to appear as if I just signed the decree and said, I impose martial law on each and every one of you. No. I asked the legislature to please pass a law proclaiming martial law because there was anarchy in the country.
Yung martial law,
Oo,
ano?
takot, papatayin sila talaga kaagad ng mga pulis.
Masaya ka.
Ha?
Masaya ka nung martial law.
Kami tahimik na mamamayan, nandito, tahimik, masaya kami, wala kami kinatatakutan na huliin kami, ano yun kami.
Bakit?
Hindi naman kami nagsasalita kontra sa gobyerno. Kasi tuwang-tuwa nga kami na nag-martial law. Oo, tahimik ang bayan.
So yung mga nagrereklamo ngayon sa TV, sila yung mga ayaw sa gobyerno noon?
Oo, ayaw. Galit na galit sila kay Marcos noon.
Bakit?
Ayaw ko ba sa mga yupak niya, mga militante nga eh. Kahit noon pa may, ayan, mga Aquino, kalaban ng mga Marcos yan noon pa.
Eh, ano lang masasabi mo dun sa ano? Anong reaction mo dun sa mga ayaw sa martial law noon?
Ayaw
Yung
siya
mga pinatay daw, ganyan.
Oo, siyempre, pinatay sila, mga rebelde sila eh. Tsaka mga kriminal, mga may record naman na rin yung mga pinatay, hindi naman basta pinapatay. Basta may record niya, halimbawa, nahuli na nakaalpas ulit, na gumawa ulit na kanya, hindi na wala ng patawad, binabaril na yun, pinapatay na yun. Tapos yung mga masasamang loob na, halimbawa, mga magnanakaw, sinasalvage yun, patay.
Kayo, anong ginagawa niyo dito?
Wala, basta namumuhay kami, nag-aaral, nagsisimba, namamalengke, tahimik kami. Wala, lahat kami dito halos sa Tala, tuwa-tuwa sa martial law, dahil tahimik. Pumunta nga dito si Imelda Marcos eh.
Anong ginawa niyo?
Bago mag-martial law, pumunta dito. Parang mga tao takbuhan, parang mga kabayo nag-aano sa lupa. Takbuhan nung dumating si Imelda, oh. Mga tao talaga takbuhan, tumutunog yung kalsada, tak. Kaya nagpuuna, pumunta sa simbahan. Andun si Imelda. Eh kami nasa simbahan, alam mo, taong simbahan ako dati pa eh. Diba, pati nga kayo, yaya ko sa simbahan na napakaliliit pa ninyo.
Pero Lola, ano yung mga sinasabi nila ng martial law, yung mga nare-rape daw? Totoo ba yun?
Mga rape?
Nire-rape, mga
Oh,
ganun.
kahit hanggang ngayon naman, ang dami nire-rape na mga ano eh. Mga kadugo pa nagre-rape.
So Lola, yung martial law noon, hindi naman lahat masama.
Oo, hindi lahat masama.
Hmm.
Basta malinis ang pamumuhay mo, hindi ka nagdadakdak kontra kay Marcos, eh di tahimik ang buhay nyo. Pero sa bus talaga, nasubukan ko, takot na takot magsisalita ang mga tao eh. Panatingin nila kung may mga pulis, mga sundalo. Mga sundalo nakapaligid eh. Takot magsalita.
Eh, ano Lola yung ano? Anong hindi mo makakalimutan ng martial law?
Martial
Noon.
law.
Noon.
Yung mga hayop ng mga militante na pinastos nila yung Malacanang.
Anong ginawa?
Doon ako nagalit. Yung retrato ng Marcos, panapukuha, inakampas. Sira, yung mga gamit ng mga kanyang pinagnanakaw din nila. Oh.
Ilang taong ka nun na nung martial law yun?
Line of 3 nga ako eh, 72 nga eh.
30s, mga ganun.
Ika, ulitin ko, 39, 49, 59, 69, 62, lang ako noon.
33. May anak ka na nun?
Oo, oo, anak, oo, mama mo wala pa. Dahil 75 siya eh. Nandiyan na sila Mario Manuel na naliliit pa. 33 lang pala ako nung martial law.
Batang-bata ka pa.
Bata pa ako. Ano?
Hanggang ngayon naman, Leo. Tignan mo, naka-sleeveless ka nga. Bawal kaya yan lang nung martial law?
Ha?
Bawal kaya yan
Ha?
nung martial law?
Wala oh.
Yung ganyan damit?
Wala. Kasi kayo mga sabi nila yung matatanda na humingi ng pensyon. Ay, sila lang yung mga mga iba ang pumatay sa kanila. Dadahilan nila si Marcos, mga sundalo ni Marcos.
So naniniwala ka, Lola, na bayani si Marcos?
Para sa akin, bayani siya. Alam mo, ang improvement sa Maynila dahil kay Marcos. Yung mga tulay na yun ang pag-ganon-ganon, yung galing siya probinsya sa Laguna, yung highway niya napakahaba, kay Marcos yun. Mga improvements na puro simentado, lalo na yun sa Makati, yung mga ganon-ganon, mga tulay doon, mga kalsada,
Marcos.
kay Marcos yun.
You know, when I proclaimed martial law, I didn't proclaim martial law alone. It is made to appear as if I just signed the decree and said, I impose martial law on each and every one of you. No. I asked the legislature to please pass a law proclaiming martial law because there was anarchy in the country. Now, let me say this. The opposition was strong. And they were members of the Security Council, and somehow they adopted a resolution which required that there be a unanimous vote for the armed forces to be able to move. And therefore the armed forces was immobilized. At the same time, I asked the opposition party to come and join me in a coalition government. I offered one half of the cabinet. And of course they laughed at me and said, why should we join you? We're going to take over the government. By the time you are through with the exercise, you're dead, politically and otherwise. So, and they refused to join me. I asked the advice of the judiciary. I asked the Supreme Court justices, the Court of Appeals justices, and the members of the private sector. And all of them told me there's only one man who can proclaim martial law, and that is the President. And you are it. You are the only one who can proclaim martial law. This is why I must carry this particular mark in our history. I could not have transferred it to the legislature. Why? Because the legislature did not have the power. What does the Constitution provide? The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and he may order the armed forces out to quell any disorder, riot, rebellion, invasion, insurrection, and in case of invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, when the public safety requires it, he may suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or proclaim martial law throughout the Philippines or any part thereof. What does that provision provide? It provides that only the President can proclaim martial law. I repeat, that is why I had to assume responsibility. And I am not one for shirking duty. The people said there was necessity for proclaiming martial law. And the people said, you are the only official who can proclaim martial law. So I proclaim martial law. And I sincerely believe that it was necessary to proclaim martial law to install order and stability because there was complete anarchy throughout the country at the time. Now, therefore, at that particular period, what was the status of our government? Our government was immobilized, impotent. The armed forces could not move out. The industry was not at all in any way moving. There was no income coming into government. Everybody was running away. They burned the U.S. Partly burned the U.S. Embassy, tried to burn it anyway. They tried to kidnap the American ambassador. American ambassador was Byroad, Ambassador Byroad. And they tried to kidnap our foreign minister, Romulo, whom you just saw today. And I told him, you better disappear because I will not ransom you. But whatever it is, they burned the Manila International Airport, they bombed the Supreme Court, they bombed the Constitutional Convention, they bombed the City Hall, they burned part of Malacañang Palace, they attempted to kidnap my children, they attempted to kill the President 8 times. There was, of course, an attempted assassination against the First Lady. You all know about that. And this required that I immediately act on it, and so I did. Now, we established land reform. We were fighting a group known as the Hukbalahap, Hukbong Nagpapalaya ng Bayan. It was socialist inclined. It was leftist. But they were friends of mine because we had fought in the Second World War together. And so I approached them and I said, look, I'm going to establish land reform. If you're fighting for land reform against the feudalistic agrarian system, then you must join me. And they did. I want to introduce to you the leader of that rebellion, who is now present and is a part of the government, Mr. Luis Tarok. He is a member of the National Assembly. One reason why he ran to the hills, according to him, was he was elected as a member of the old legislature and he was not recognized as such. He and the others. Now I want to introduce to you another leader of the Free Farmers Federation, which is also composed of farmers who wanted reform, but who are fighting for reform, but who are now joining in the effort to establish political stability and economic prosperity throughout the country, and who was Dean of the College of Law of the University of Ateneo, but abandoned his deanship in order that he may join in the effort to attain the noble mission of this new society. I refer to National Assemblyman Jerry Montemayor, President of the Federation of Free Farmers of the Philippines. I would like to introduce also to you a young man who was very active against the government in 1972 and who paraded around the streets raising the flag of the Communist Party and organized the Kabataan Makabayan, which is the red organization of the youth. And this man is Nilo Taya. Is he here? Anyway, he is somewhere around here. But they have all joined, all these activists, to prove to you that all these stories about our being oppressive against our enemies and our friends, they've all joined the government to help reform and drive out all the corrupt people in the government. We have an ombudsman. We are the only country